Well, I see the fans up here, and I see a real opportunity to build a team up here.
Jim Barnett for Warriors.com. Today we're going to be talking with Jerry West, and we'll be discussing his childhood, some things you might find very interesting, which formed him into the person that he is today. Well, you are from Shillian, and you got that nickname Zeke from Cabin Creek, which is close by, but actually you got your mail delivered at Cabin Creek because I believe at one time even your sister was postmaster there.
Yes, she was, and I used to, we didn't have a car or anything, and West Virginia, of course, is very mountainous, and I didn't have to run up mountains to get the mail, but I used to run, it's about 1.25 miles. I used to run all the way from my house to get the mail from my mother, and it was like something I did every day. I was it's like you had a lot of energy when you played, and I've been blessed with a lot of energy in my life. I didn't do anything at a half pace. I mean, everything was full out. And so I got used to running at an early age, and just something I continued to do until obviously I went to high school.
In fact, you've been quoted as saying you could run like a deer. I read that in your book that's coming out, West by West, My Charmed, Tormented Life.
And that's for sure.
I'm curious about that because it's very revealing, Jerry, and it tells where you've come and where you've migrated from and where you are today in your life. Why did you write the book?
Well, Jim, I think sometimes you have to look within and you see things written about you and that are not even close to being accurate. And I wouldn't really want it to be deceptive with people. I'm pretty flawed, I really am, but I've learned how to mask it from hiding some of the pain that I went through, as a lot of kids do.
Sure.
It's not a unique story to a lot of people, but it is to me to go and live my life the way I lived it. And just because of a gift, I was able to rise above it. And more importantly, it probably made me in some ways a more determined person, someone who had tremendous desire to compete and also to win. And those are the things that really have fueled me, but I think it was really fueled out of anger, to be honest with you. But I want people to know who I really am. I want them to know my frailties instead of something that someone else writes that's not even close to the truth, who doesn't even know me. And I've hidden a lot of these things for years, and I think a lot of people, and one of the things I've battled all my life is depression, and it's awkward to talk about. But I've learned how to cope with it, I've learned how to deal with it, and as I say, in some respects, it's made me a tougher person. And I think anyone who grows up in adversity and everything is not given to them, I've often said, I don't think anyone's ever given me anything in my life. And if there's anything I'm really proud of, it's probably that, because everything I've done in my life is because I've worked very hard and I've really cared about what I was doing. But along the way, try to embrace people who have been nice to me.
Yeah, people write books, and a lot of times they're tell-all books, and they're revealing, but usually they point the finger at other people. This is an expose about you, and you've been very candid in that book, and very revealing, and very open, and very vulnerable. That's what really struck me about this, and I know some of the difficult things you're alluding to. I'd say, number one, it's difficult to be raised in a fairly large family where you eat the same soup out of the same bowl 6 nights in a row, and your father's very harsh and hard on you, but that kind of formed who you became, and like you say, it took possibly influenced you to go out on that basketball court, and that was an escape place. And I know it's difficult to talk about your older brother when you were 13, when David was killed in Korea, but that really that was a turning point in your life, it seems.
Well, it really was, Jim. You say harsh life. It was worse than a harsh life, okay? Very abusive, and I seemed to be the one who was a target of it. And I was always trying to figure out as a young kid, if somebody's bigger than me, they can darn sure kick my fanny, okay? But in the course of it, you're wondering, when you're little and small and vulnerable, and I see some of the terrible atrocities that children have to go through in their lives. And it does scar you in many ways, but if you survive, you're going to be stronger for it. And for some reason, I could never have the acceptance of my father, and that was fine. That was fine. And it really, really changed though when my brother got killed. I mean, he was like the guiding star of our family, a great person, deeply religious, and I always said to myself, my gosh, you know, he shouldn't have been the one who got killed. I was the one, because I was always felt like I wasn't worthy of anything. And living those kind of lives, and self-worth is something, if you don't have, you're always going to strive for. So I think the thing that pushed me, I wanted to be the best at what I did, even though it was only a dream. It was only a figment of my imagination, so I didn't think it was possible being in a small town. And I had a vivid imagination. As a kid, when you're young, you know, you have all these thoughts running through your head, and it can be to run the gauntlet for everyone. Everyone has different dreams and different goals, but I picked that basketball up, and it was like, this was my new best friend. And I could go home and at least feel good about being out there by myself and playing all these mental games, knowing what might be ahead at my house. And it was a real turning point. And from that day forward, I always said, you know, when my brother passed away, I always said if I could do something to honor him, and coming from where I came from, you never dreamed that was possible. And later in life was able to do that. It was really, frankly, very, very important for me to do that.